All right. Hey, it's Tuesday Talks. I love that we know how to pivot and change things up when things don't go the way we want it to. And today's one of those days, so we are just going to record and post a recording and not go live. But I am super excited. One of my good friends coming in today from Laguna Beach. Look at her in her sunny outback, and friend Katie Ewell. And Katie, I'm so excited, and I really wanted you to come today because today it is St. Patrick's Day, and we always talk about getting lucky on St. Patrick's Day. And so, ladies, I told you it was going to be hot and spicy, and you know what? Katie has an amazing coaching program. She works with a lot of women, and she is really working hard on bringing marriages back to, marriages today are hard. And I'm going to say probably the last 2 weeks for a lot of people, it's even been harder. So Katie, I'm going to just let you tell your story. And then we'll put links on here, how they can connect with you, because I think you're going to help set a lot of women free.
Awesome. Well, thank you. This is really awesome to be able to connect this way. I think we're all feeling a little disconnected and alone with everything that's going on. So just being able to come on and see you and share some things to do with marriage and connection and relationship. I just feel really honored, Lisa. So thank you for having me. How it really started, I would say, is my husband and I, we owned gyms back in Washington. So we've just been in Laguna for 2 years now, almost 2 years. And we owned gyms, and I was the at-home mom with the 3 kids, and he was the one building the gyms. And he was gone, building a business takes a lot. So he was gone quite a bit. And that caused a pretty big disconnect in our marriage, and, no handbook on how to run a marriage, and even, being home with little kids. And I can still remember it was about 5 years now. And it really felt like I was the one that was doing the family, and he was the one that was building the business. And I just remember saying, I just want a husband. Like, I want connection. I want to be together. And so as Jesse started really diving deep in having his spiritual mentor, business mentor, relationship mentor, we kind of had this, it was almost like a rubber band where he was growing, and I felt like I was being a little bit left behind. So I chose then to join in some coaching as well, and really decide to rise for myself and level up what I was doing as a wife and a mom. Fast forward to selling the businesses, moving to California. We were actually on a podcast together, and we were talking about how, I have this group of women. Sorry. Ooh.
There we go.
I got a call.
We're good.
Okay. I have a group of women. He has a group of men, and it's so easy for us to go to our girlfriends. You just call them up and say, oh, hey, what's going on? And let me just share, oh, well, this happened or that happened. And Jess and I were talking about how, wow, what we really need is this connection between marriages. You have a powerful woman and a powerful man, and how do we bring that together? There's so many programs out there for a woman to rise or work with other women, and for men to work with his brothers and create this community and this connection, but it's really missing with couples. So that's where Power Couples really came from for Jess and I. And, we just wanted to share what we had walked through with other couples, us taking a leap and being vulnerable. And so that is today, what we lead on it. And today we have a mastermind of Power Couples. In order to really get there, I also, I coach women prior to a lot of times this, because as you know, Lisa, we tend to put everyone else before us as women. It's very easy to put, and I know you lead women in the health realm of this, and it's so incredible, but it's so easy to put our kids and our husband and everything else before us. So my big thing is really igniting the power within women to put themselves first so they can show up better for their kids, for their husband, for their health. Jess does, coach men in there, and I take the women, and then we bring them together, which I think is obviously, we say more powerful together, because, oh my gosh, when you bring a husband and wife together that's, wants to work on their communication and their connection and talk intimacy and raising the kids, I just feel like we were just taken to a whole nother level. And then when you bring that in community with other couples that are walking the same thing and, want to know that they're not alone as well. It's life-changing.
I love that. And I love that you're igniting the power in women and making them, bringing couples back. I always say we spend so much time, energy, and money in planning the wedding and planning the marriage. And then we get married, and then it's like, how much time, energy, and money do we spend on growing and igniting and keeping that flame alive?
And that's, Lisa, that is exactly what, Jess and I say all the time, like, how are you continuing to invest? Yes, marriage and walking down that aisle, and it's so exciting, but then what? Buying a car isn't necessarily investing in your marriage. Or yes, you're living in a home together, but what are you doing to, work together and walk through the things that every couple is walking through?
Yeah. And Katie, what I love about you guys is I've watched you and Jess together, and when we've been in Laguna Beach, and with your kids, you have 3 kids, you're amazing parents, you're fun, you have real life issues that you work through, but you guys do something every week, and I love this. Tell us about date night.
Date night. So I truly believe that date night changed our marriage. When you're first, okay, sorry, this is real life here. Okay, this is Jocelyn. Jocelyn, can you say hi to Lisa?
Hey.
Okay, listen, mommy's on a call. I will fix that in a minute.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay, so we're gonna clean the pond after this call. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so it's pretty interesting how it started. Jesse went through a mentorship program, and his mentor basically said, when is the last time you have actually dated your wife? And I'm not just talking take her out to dinner and eat and whatever, but really, really dated her, gotten dressed up, surprised her, maybe even planned the babysitter. And for us, it was, since we were dating before kids, I would plan it all. And it was just kind of like you were existing on this date. It really wasn't connection. And it wasn't talking about maybe like goals that we had or where we wanted to go, or, the two of us really, really connecting. And so we started this about 5 years ago, and every single week, we have committed to date night. And clearly there's things that come up, but it's it is just ingrained in us now. And it's my favorite night of the week. And, it doesn't have to be this extravagant dinner or anything. You can create date night in your bedroom. You can go for a walk for date night. It's just really what it comes down to is that present connection with your spouse. And even if you feel like you've taken this journey of maybe this disconnection, it's reconnecting and maybe even getting to know them, better, or reminiscing about, Jess and I have reminisced about our wedding or our first dates, or what it was even like that first kiss, or, stuff like that, to just get you excited again. Because I think with kids and with work and with everything that's going on, you tend to forget those amazing times that you shared with your spouse that really ignite, that passion inside.
Yeah. And what I love about that you guys are working on that now. What I see happening in marriages, being the next generation, is we have a lot of friends that are our age that, you get empty nest syndrome, and all of a sudden, what do you have in common with your spouse?
Right.
And so many, I know my parents were 3 months after I graduated from high school, my dad left. And it's like, okay, do people not have something in common anymore? And that crushes me. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people connect with someone to help them move forward younger when you have those kids at home. Because you know what, I think what happens if you don't have an identity when you're married to your spouse with children, I'm not just, I think so many of us relate to, you're Jocelyn's mom, I was Corey's mom, Kendra's mom, Garrett's mom. That's who I was. And
Right.
it's like all of a sudden, who are you? And I
Right.
think
And
it's so
yeah.
important to, how can you bring that part in? So that's not who you are.
Right. And, like I said, I mean, that's why that date night is so important. And it's so important for your kids to see that too. Cause I know for me, I mean, I had to own the fact that I was putting my kids at times before my husband, and my husband was putting his business before me. And I remember his mentor said, if you treated your business like you treat your marriage, how successful would you be? And I remember Jess just being like, and it's really owning up to that and being very honest about where you are and again, what you want for your marriage. And I can remember thinking about that because I have friends that say that all the time. Oh my gosh, my kids are leaving. I'm so sad. And of course I'm going to be sad, but I also want to be excited about what's next for my husband and I. Like, what do we get to create then? But if you don't start now, and if you don't continue to invest, you just create this gap, and to bring it back together, I believe, yes, you can, but why not start now? And why not keep that connection alive? And why not show our kids what a healthy marriage, and mommy and daddy go on dates, and this is your time then to spend with the sitter and have pizza. And yeah, it's just, it's completely shifted everything for us.
I love that. So tell us about, I know I listened to your podcast with Brooke, and you, one of the things I really liked, it was on Valentine's. And you really talked about just things you can do at home. Like, how do you change things up, just by changing the environment? So
Yes.
I know a lot of people say, I can't afford, especially right now, people are nervous about money and that. And I get that, but still making that person the priority. What are things we can do with children at home, because everybody's kids are out of school?
Right.
So give someone out there that's like, oh my gosh, my husband's driving me nuts. And it's not your husband's driving you nuts. It's life right now. Let's get back to the basics and have some fun date nights, date days.
Right.
Well,
And so there's a couple things. And a lot of times I think of these times, we're inside, we're all together. We're not used to that. Like that's different. And one of the huge things that we'll do that's pretty, like, even if the kids are going at it or Jess and I, you can shift by turning on some music and getting silly and dancing. Like, I'm not kidding. And the kids feed off it, and it changes your mindset. It changes your emotions. I mean, it's like a workout, really. And the kids are laughing and daddy's dancing funny and and so I would say, because we're inside, that's a fun thing to do. And then Jess and I, so on the daily, that I have things that obviously I was talking about, like ignite who I am. And one of the things I do for my husband, and he is not home. He is still able to go to work. So we do this thing called, it's an app, it's Marco Polo, and it's video. And every single day, and you can do this in text, you can do this in video. I send him a video and tell him why I'm grateful for him. So this morning, for instance, it was the fact that he is telling me that he's continually praying for our family, for our marriage, and that we are safe. So it's just, in reminding him that those things that he does for us, I am so grateful for. Another huge thing we talk about a lot with our couples is knowing the couple's love language. So you really can't fill up your spouse unless you know what it is they want.
On the chair over there.
Okay, I'll get it in just a second. So if you don't know what your spouse wants, you give them more of what they don't want, which then, it doesn't really take you anywhere. So knowing their love language is huge, and there's a free quiz online. And then also, I am a firm believer of asking for what you want in marriage. There is nothing wrong. And I can tell you, 10 years ago, Jess and I will be married 15 in July. I probably would have said to him, you should know how to love me. You should know what to get me. You should just know. And to now fast forward to, really owning who I am, working on our marriage, being 100% honest with myself. No, they shouldn't know. We should tell them. It is, as a wife, it is my job to tell my husband, you know, what I want, what makes me happy, you know, even in the, you know, bedroom. I mean, you know, it is my job to say they don't know. And why not move your marriage that much more forward by telling them what we want as opposed to expecting them to understand?
I love that. And then when I post this, I'll have you post the link for your information in there too, so that people know. And that love language test, that was a game changer for us. And I used it on my kids too.
Yes.
Because
Yeah. Well,
yeah. It's relationships. Everyone should have that, but especially spouses. What's your love language?
Okay, so mine is acts of service and quality time. And it's funny because forever I was writing Jesse cards. Like I would go buy these cards and I'd stick them in little places and I'd do little notes. And finally, fast forward, it was a few years ago, and he's like, those cards don't do anything for me. Yeah. And I remember like I could take that as like, oh my gosh, like, are you kidding? But I was like, wow, you know, and that's when the whole love language came into play. That was my love language. And typically what we do is we, you know, put out our love language because it's what we want. And that's usually what we give our spouse. But after then he took the test, Jess is our physical touch and quality time. So yeah, it was a huge, I mean, same thing for me, huge game changer. And, you know, that's another thing that we talk to our couples about is how are you showing up daily for your spouse and their love language? You know, are you, and you know, Jess and I say this, physical touch does not mean, and it doesn't have to be sexual. You know, physical touch is holding hands, is rubbing their neck, is, you know, I mean, you know, giving them a big hug and saying, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so glad you're home, you know. So that's the other thing. There's deeper levels of physical touch, even acts of service or words of affirmation. You know, there's other things that you can do beyond just the surface.
Yeah, I love that. Mine's totally acts of service. You know,
yeah.
I always say if I come home, when I used to work all the time, and I'd come home and Gary's cooking dinner or still cooking dinner now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
You know, that to me is love. You know, he does come home, he cleans the house or something. That's called foreplay at my house, because that is totally, it is. Because that is something that it's like, oh my gosh, that is showing so much love to me because he knows I don't like doing that.
I agree.
You know, I think just little things like that. So Katie, if you had to say what book gave you the greatest impact of your life, you know, I love giving away a book. What book has made the greatest impact in your life, either in just yours or marriage or just in business or life in general?
I wish we did like a sex experiment. I can't remember the actual name of the book, but that was a good one. But you know, I can honestly say for the book that I've continued to use every single day, that sits on my nightstand, that we give to Jesus Calling. I love Jesus Calling. And now that there's an app, and I'm a visual person, so I love to read it, but there is nothing like, my husband reads it. We read it together. There's now a kid's version. I would just say that is a book that has been in our life and in our marriage since day one.
I love that. And actually I have that app on my phone. I read every day. So I know there's a great book out there, Jesus Calling. So if people comment on this and find value in this, and we'll post all Katie's information, because we want to help you guys, mostly women on here, and we want to help you guys. Let's reignite those marriages. Let's go back to the basics. What made you fall in love with him? And let's stir some. It's a new season, and now is the time more than ever that we need to be bonding with our husbands.
Yes.
So I'm super excited that you joined us today. She's home with 3 kids because school's out of session everywhere. And it is a new time and it is a stressful time, but you guys, Let's make it the best time ever. You're quarantined, maybe, if you're
Yeah.
stuck at home for more hours, have some fun, get to know each other and enjoy each other.
Amen. And Lisa, thank you. And I just want to add, I know Lisa and I both live by this, but I think we really feel that like, if you're winning in your marriage, we're winning, and also if you need prayer over your marriage, you can DM Lisa or I mean,
Yeah.
we pray big, bold prayers. So I would encourage you. I mean, yes, it is a hard time right now, but we are here. And if you need prayer or reach out, like we're happy to connect with you.
Absolutely. And I would say that's number one over both of our marriages is it starts with keeping God first.
Yes.
And then our spouse and then our family.
Yes.
And I think that's super important too. All right. Well, Katie, go enjoy that sunny day there. Is it warm? Is it cold?
It's, I would say probably it's funny because I will say it's not that warm, but it's probably 68. And to, my family in Washington, they're like, that's warm, so yeah,
I think it's 70 degrees here in Arizona. So
okay.
I know it's like, yeah, it's warm compared to Oregon. It's warm.
Yeah, but the sun being out is incredible. I mean, it just brings light, obviously, in this time. So
yes. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Go get lucky, and thanks for coming on today.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay. Bye.